Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I don't have enough time. Super busy right now and don't have enough time to fulfill that task. How many times have you told yourself that, or has someone told that to you? Well, in this video, I want to discuss the hard reality of that statement and really why I have no time is not really true, and it's actually a big lie that we all tell ourselves. So I think we're all guilty of using that, myself included. But I think we need to be honest with ourselves and honest with those that we tell this excuse to. And I think the only way to be honest and to own up to it is to redefine the meaning of I have no time. Think about it. What are you really saying when you don't have time? Right? We all have time. We all have 24 hours in a day, and people find ways to execute on their goals or tasks they need to do or whatever it may be, right? We all have the same time. So why do some people have time and some don't? I think it comes down to redefining I have no time to it's not a priority of mine at this current time. And I think when we start to shift that language, we can be a lot more honest with people. I think people will respect us more, but it also helps you understand that, yes, I do have the time, but whatever the task is that I'm saying I don't have time for, it's just not a priority. And that could be good or bad. Maybe it's something that we need to make a priority, or maybe it's something that in general, that's gonna slow us down. And sorry, but I can't do that right now because it's not a priority of mine right now, but maybe in the future I can go back. So with that said, I want to discuss 4 ways that I like to shift that language into not make the excuse of I have no time into really make it a priority. Number 1, we need to make it purposeful. We need to link that task or that action that we are saying we have no time to something that's bigger than ourselves. I think an easy example is working out, right? A lot of people like to say they have no time to work out. But like I said in the beginning, how do these other people find time to work out? Well, an easy way is to make it more meaningful. Create purpose behind the action. So with working out, maybe you want to work out so you can be healthier, so you can be around longer with your family. Maybe working out is going to give you more energy to be more present with your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whoever it may be. But what you'll find is that when there's an actual purpose to something that we don't want to make a priority, it quickly becomes a priority because now it's bigger than ourselves. And that is extremely powerful when it comes to motivation and executing on something that we are looking to make a priority. Number 2, we need to audit our calendar. And first off, I need to start by saying, do you have a calendar? Because a lot of times those that say they don't have time don't actually have a calendar. And yes, it can be done, but it's really hard to track exactly where your time is going if you're not really seeing it out in front of you. So if you don't have a calendar, an easy way to make something a priority is to create a calendar. And at that point, you can then either find or create time. So if you have open space on the calendar, that's an easy way out. You then found the time, put it in the calendar. When it's on the calendar, you're going to be a lot more intentional and purposeful with what's on that calendar. So if it's the task of working out, then you will work out once it's on that calendar. If you already have a calendar, then we need to create time. So when we create time, we need to audit the calendar, like I said. Once you audit it, maybe you'll find that there's things that you don't necessarily need to be doing. That extra 2 hours watching Netflix, maybe you can shave off an hour and put in the workout, right? But again, when you audit your calendar and you're really honest with where is your time spent, it gets a lot easier to input the workout or the task that you want to make a priority, and then simply follow your calendar like you've been doing. The third strategy is to wake up earlier or to go to bed later. And I'm using both of those purposefully. I think a lot of times we feel that we have to wake up early in order to find more time or to be successful. And I myself am very much an early bird and get up super early because that worked for me. So it's really about finding the time where it works for you. Are you more creative and more productive at night? Great, stay up later. That's perfectly fine. If you're a morning person, get up earlier, right? But I think a lot of us say we should do this, but what we should do is we should figure out what works best for us in our schedule, in our brain, in our day-to-day life. I think once you stop copying others' schedules and finding out what works best for you, it's really easy to figure out, do I need to wake up earlier to accomplish this task, or do I need to stay up late? And I think the part two to that is when we have our purpose, like we talked about in the first strategy, getting up earlier or going to bed later is that much easier. Let's look at the getting up earlier. How many times have you set an alarm but know that you have nothing to do in the morning? How many times do you snooze that alarm? Probably a lot, right? We're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it for sure. But when you have something, if you have a meeting, right, and you know you have to be somewhere, how many times do you snooze the alarm? Typically none, right? You get up and you go. So you have it there, you have that motivation to get up. But again, that's where we went to strategy one. We need to have that clear purpose. We need to know why we are waking up early. What's the bigger reason? Like we said in the gym, maybe you're doing it to be a better spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, whatever it is, right? And all of a sudden when that alarm goes off in the morning, there's a lot more motivation and reason to get up then. The fourth strategy is the easiest, but also the most challenging. All it is to stay consistent. I know it's not some fancy idea, but what happens is so many of us start this new task. Let's say that we made it a priority, but we don't remain consistent long enough to know if it's the right decision. We don't stay consistent long enough to know if we need to make a subtle change or a big change. So we have to take the time to go through it, to trial it, to see if it's what fits best. And maybe it fits great and you can keep everything the same. Maybe there needs to be a small change and you make a small pivot. Maybe it's completely wrong and you need to do a total 180 and start from scratch. But you'll never know if you didn't stay consistent enough, right? So whatever the task is, if it's working out, remain consistent with it. Allow your body to develop a habit. Then start to audit it. Are we on the right track, or do we need to then change it? So I hope you found these 4 strategies useful and something that you can start to implement the next time that you say, I don't have time. I also challenge you to continue questioning the language, right? This is just one example, but what else are we saying that maybe we just need to change our perspective on it, right? So I don't have time really is I don't want to make it a priority right now. And then take a step back, and is that okay? Or is it something that we need to make a priority to achieve where we want to go?